Last year, after Mike's PhD drama, he addressed it, and it was terrible for him, but it was great for us. And it looks like we're getting that exact same pattern. And I'm going to put it in my almanac. This is going to be a regular feature we're going to look for, like El Nino. Now, I'm going to make this brutally short because I have to turn the AC off in my Arizona garage in the middle of summer in order to record. So if you start to see beads of sweat dripping down my face, it's not because I'm worried about getting a cease and desist from Mr. Mike. Now, if you're not up to date on the drama, there are a couple of avenues that you could get caught up real quick. One, you can look at Solomon Nelson's tour de force. He should get an Oscar for this. Hour and 40-minute deep dive. Treat yourself to a road trip. Expose your family to the beauty that is YouTube fitness drama. You can also check out my latest video that I did in fact put out the same day as Solomon's. I knew when I saw him post this video that morning, everybody was going to think my video was a reaction to his. There was somebody trying to say I stole the core idea of AI being at the center of it from Solomon's video, which is absolutely insane because anybody who's read the book knows that it's AI. These are the reviews. July 1st, ChatGPT book. July 8th, AI slot book. Shouldn't matter to me, but it does. This is my original recording, hour and 46 minutes. Original recording date is August 10th. One thing that gives away AI writing like crazy is it's not merely X, it's actually Y. It was in fact a coincidence. I didn't rent, steal, download. I purchased both the book and the fucking Audible. I thought it'd make my life easier. It absolutely did not. If you're ever curious as to what Bromley reads, here's your peek behind the screen. I know that doesn't matter to any of you. Matters to me. I'm petty. This is my channel. So it's always been, so it ever will be. And on the topic of mine, you might have noticed, you might have been peeping the little top bit of text, a little bit of curiosity comes over you. And you might be thinking to yourself, Bromley, is that a new Bromley shirt featured by Barbell Apparel? And is it so saturated with over-the-top American patriotism that it bestows American excellence onto anybody who wears it? And will the fact of me wearing it make a whole bunch of people mad for no fucking reason? Ho! You bet your ass. And does it feature the most American of barbell lifts, the behind-the-neck barbell press by a muscular, anthropomorphized, bald fucking eagle? What's that? You're not entirely sure the behind-the-neck press is in fact American? I don't give a shit. We commandeered it. It's ours now. Same as it ever was. The link for this beauty is below. Go ahead and get yours now. But now back on track. I keep taking segues. We're here for serious business. We're talking about Mike, who I am following because it's interesting to me. And I look forward to all the people who were so uninterested in this that they clicked on it, watched it, commented, told me their strong opinions in the comments, because that's exactly what you do when you're scrolling social media and you see something that's boring or uninteresting, right? You spend a bunch of time engaging with it. Guys, it's fine if you want to give your opinion, but just don't lie to me that you're not a Mr. Mike sucker, okay? I'm not here to shame anybody for it. I just don't like when you try to hide it. Come out of the closet, guys. Come on. You can call it drama all you want. The guy has many millions of followers. He's the top guy in the field, recognizable to everybody, has a ton of influence over people, and just keeps getting caught in fraudulent bullshit. Put the sword down, Captain White Knight. Milady isn't the one that needs protecting here. But this time we will be covering Solomon Nelson's video. Go head over to his channel. There's a lot of good information there. Give the dude a follow. He deserves it. He does put a ton of effort into his content.
Last week, I published a video demonstrating that embarrassing portions of Mike Israetel's latest book, The Aesthetic Revolution, Embracing Vanity and the Future of Fitness to Unlock Your Healthy.
I am starting to sweat. It is hot as fucking here, but also I think I hear the process server outside of my door, so let's get to it. I'm going to turn the speed up on this just a bit. I know people complain every time I do it, but we got stuff to do. Come on.
Yourself, AI generated. Go watch it if you haven't seen it already. While waiting for the publisher, Hachette Book Group, to discontinue the book due to the blatantly AI-generated portions, it was brought to my attention by my friend Sean Stone of Carved Out of Stone that Mike Israetel has actually admitted to using generative AI, and I quote, to smooth over the prose in his book. I 100% used AI to help me smooth over some of the prose for my upcoming book, The Aesthetic Revolution. This was before a whole team of editors from the publishing company further smoothed the prose over. They were made aware of this. I'm stating this now, well before the book comes out, so that there is no controversy if and when someone detects that it has elements of AI writing styles in it. I will also be using AI in the future unapologetically to improve my work in various ways. All of the structure and ideas and content of the book is 100% my own work. If you find it disconcerting that I did this, I wish you the best, and I wouldn't ever in a million years try to push you to read the book against your interests. Sarcastically, maybe you also find that I used a PC and the internet to help me write the book. heaven.
Before I get into this, I want you to pause the video, go into the comments, and I want you to numerically list the different layers of bullshit in this one singular post. The things that stand out to you right now, that are maybe damning, that are maybe over the top, that are maybe just insufferable. Okay, you ready? You did that? You're back? Okay. I'm going to clip them off real quick for you. Number one, I 100% used AI to help me smooth over some of the prose for my upcoming book. As somebody who subjected myself to the detriment of my mental health, which also affects my wife, my son, my neighbors. All right, this was a community-wide catastrophe that everybody had to sacrifice so that I could get to the other side of this piece of shit. Use of the description smooth over some of the prose makes me irrationally angry. I think a lot of people really care that AI might have been used. If it was like fixing grammatical errors, putting in punctuation where it wasn't, fixing double negatives, there were parts of his book that were obviously him speaking where that shit happened and the AI didn't smooth it over. Neither did a fucking editor. It's the back half of the book that reads like the nightmarish video game cutscene from some horrifying corporation that is selling you on their brand new strain of cyborg zombie mutant babies for the betterment of mankind. It's using the most trite descriptive language. Imagine a future where you can staple your belly button shut and cut away the stretch marks from your thighs and your life is better. It's right around the corner. Guys, this is at a 1.8, okay? And it's not just getting review bombed. The very first reviews, weeks before Solomon ever put out his video, kept saying AI slop. This is a ChatGPT book. People think this is drama. Honestly, if he was a nobody, this still merits a video because it is just fascinating how bad it was. Again, it's not just the use of AI. It's the reliance on AI to completely replace a human writing a book, which defeats the purpose of a book. People do not want to buy books that are merely AI outputs that are unedited by a person. And if you're going to do that, it's deceptive to write a book without that on the front fucking cover. But secondly, it's the fact that AI is good at some things. The second you want it to put out text, it's terrible. You have this tool that's really bad and you use it to create a really shitty product knowing it's bad, and you make no effort to actually modify the final product so that it doesn't suck. How many different ways can I label you a lazy piece of shit? Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional here. I'm having PTSD for having to read through those god-awful fucking chapters. So that's thing one, smooth over some of the prose. That's like saying I didn't steal the candy bar, I was saving it for you for later. And this is why Mr. Mike deserves all the hate he gets. I mean, there's no charity to be had anymore because this pattern is now a feature. Somebody put in the comments, are we sure he doesn't have a humiliation kink? Because it's obvious when he put out this book what would happen given his history. He bullshitted his way through his PhD dissertation. He has a fake black belt. He jumped into and proceeded to dick around with his bodybuilding prep, then openly relied on surgical procedures to compensate for his lack of diet and inexplicable refusal to do cardio. After all of that, putting out this book, anybody would anticipate, man, if I put this out, I'm probably going to get roasted. But it's like he likes it. I think there's a part of him that is like in the corner abusing himself. But because he's such an egomaniac about his perceived intellect, instead of imagining it's somebody on his computer screen making fun of his small dick, it's the masses of followers humiliating him for being a lazy, worthless piece of shit. I want to get into this guy's family history to see where these circuits were connected that made this human being operate in such a ridiculous fashion. But one thing's clear, like, he can't be taken seriously anymore. Now, point of bullshit number two. This was before a whole team of editors from the publishing company further smoothed the prose over. They were made aware of this. This has the vibe of like zero chance that fucking happened. This is just like his PhD dissertation where he made up a story about the final draft that turned out to be completely fake after people did a bunch of forensic work and is like, what you submitted as your final draft actually was doctored and Frankenstein together recently. It's you trying to cover up your tracks. I don't know anything about this publishing house. They seem really fucking Mickey Mouse. The story from Solomon's previous video, which is absolutely great, which I never would have discovered, is that this publishing house published a book called Shy Girl, which got traction on the internet, got very popular, and it turned out to have a lot of AI in it, if not be entirely AI, and they had to pull the American release. Solomon talks about the whole legal thing where you can't copyright AI content. It's not yours, and it's lying, it's misleading, it's in violation of the publishing contract to represent it as yours. It makes the book publisher liable. It pisses off their consumers. But I was under the impression in this day and age that if he was going to release a book, he'd do KDP. That's what my books are made under. Self-publishing is super easy, and you don't have to give a huge chunk to these publishing houses. But Mr. Mike obviously wanted this front and center at like Barnes & Noble because he thought this shit was going to get him on like Good Morning America. I do not believe for a second that any editors read this book, let alone a whole team of editors from the publishing company that, one, knew he used AI, and two, left it in as is. That seems made up. It seems like the publishing companies are probably pretty hands-off here. And maybe after getting burned by Shy Girl, they fucking shouldn't be. The third point of bullshit is that he is doubling down. I 100% used AI. His book is sitting at a fucking 1.8. The entire world is like, hey, we can't trust you as an authority. And he's leading down on his weird nerd fetish obsession with being ball-gagged, like leather suit wearing gimp chained up in a chest under the primary data center that fuels ChatGPT. I know it's a stretch. It's beyond my expertise to say this is where it gets speculative, but guys, I feel like there's a sexual element here. I know that's weird for me to say. I don't like overreaching like that. That's a gut instinct, all right? Grain of salt. I'm not saying it is a fact, speculation. I'm just like, what if? This seems to coincide with other patterns that I think one might recognize as having a weird sexual component. Talking about the body swapping, the sci-fi bioluminescent skin and elf ears, the hyperfixation on aesthetics as being like the center point of self-realization. It's not just insecurity. This went to a dark place a really long time ago. He doubles down by saying, I will be using AI in the future unapologetically. He's basically saying, fuck you, AI's great. I'm AI's bottom bitch. I wouldn't have it any other way. Here's ChatGPT's pocket. Gemini's over here with 3 fingers in my ass. Grok is standing behind me with a burner phone, hooking me up with Johns for the evening. And I don't know which is worse. Either he thinks he didn't do anything wrong and this is fine in the future and everybody should suck it up, or if this is just another strategy to get himself out of hot water by just lying, which obviously he's comfortable doing. He did that for his PhD dissertation. But the doubling down unapologetically, I'm going to continue to feed you fucking slop to taint the trust that you might have in me as an authority because of my weirdo ideological bias, and you guys can suck it. That's definitely a choice. Nobody cares about him trying to push you to read the book against your interest. That's a bizarre response that goes beyond straw man. He's basically saying if you don't like it, move on, but this isn't a fucking Instagram post. This is a product that you're selling with your name on the label, leading people to believe that this is your original work, which it obviously is not by any legal definition that exists presently at the moment. I bought the book first with the intent of doing some review on it. Now, if I wasn't doing it for this purpose, I would have been pissed as hell. I would have been like, what the fuck? I spent money on this? I sacrificed credits in my Audible account for this? I'm already pissed that I wasted it on Dungeon Crawler Carl. I got through 100 pages of that piece of shit, listening to every idiot on the book like, it's an amazing book, as they read video game rules for fucking 19 chapters. The global consequences of the literacy crisis are fully upon us. And he doubles down again, sarcastically, maybe you also find that I used a PC and the internet to help me write the book. Heavens! This is one of the most blatant strategies that so many people use when they're making arguments. Isn't this absurd? It's just like if you did this thing over here, and it's like nothing like it. Maybe you also find that I used a PC and the internet to help me write the book. He's trying to reduce it down to like, oh, you have a problem with me using technology. There are people that take issue with any AI use for any reason. That is not the story here. The story is the shitification of literature, of products, of the consumer experience by the very authorities that are supposed to represent the fucking pinnacle of that field. It is the lowering of standards, the giving of a worse product, and again, by every legal definition you can conceive of, representing work that is not yours as yours. I'd be hard-pressed to have an argument here if it was just a tool that was used as part of a much larger process with human intervention to give the best possible product to the consumer. This is the opposite of that, which is like when a teacher says, hey, you plagiarized this. This is 95% the same as War and Peace. And you're like, well, it's paper. It's 95% the same as a tree. Excuse me, sir, you're at a public playground. You're not allowed to have your balls hanging out. You just don't like that I'm a 5'5", bald, aesthetically conscious member of a particular ethnic group. And as far as memeable as, Mr. Mike's intelligence is, I don't think he's dumb. He's not as smart as he wants people to think he is. And it doesn't matter how smart you are if the more impulsive part of your brain is not checked. I mean, if you have like a really old model of motorcycle that's like, I don't know, not really safe or well built, and if you just like grow the engine into some overbuilt monstrosity, to me, that doesn't like predictably lead to no consequences. That's what I see as like putting a lot of intelligence into a human brain. So if you are predisposed to like certain pathologies or insecurities, if you do have a personality disorder, maybe you grew up in dysfunction and you just didn't learn the actual methods by which you operate in a pro-social society, or morality wasn't instilled in you, whatever it might be, the smarter you are, I feel like the more that you are going to like bridge off of like normal polite society as we know it. That's not my area of study. Again, that's all speculation. But if you didn't want speculation, you'd be on my main channel where I actually know what I'm talking about. Here is my gut instinct. All right. I got the lights turned down. My back is soaked by now, guys. It's like 90 degrees in here right now. Guys, I got treasure in here. I got rare prints. I got slabbed 9.9s. They're not going to make it through the summer. And then the fourth level of fuckery, it is the blatant lying. All of the structure and ideas and content of the book is 100% my own work, which it just isn't. I don't know what mental gymnastics you have to use to say that it's my own work when you are using GPT output. That's just a lie. Now, again, if you guys go and dare download the book or try to look through what the last chapters look like, the template of just chapter after chapter after chapter, it gives a hyper-specific breakdown of how the procedure goes off, and it can only be written by somebody that is a professional in that field or by somebody that did a fuck ton of research. And we know Mike didn't do any research for this. The funny part isn't just that he had ChatGPT write the prose, it's that it all came together. It was, hey, in this format that we've been doing, can you write me the introduction, a bullet point of procedures, and tell us everything we need to know about it using my funny, endearing, self-deprecating type of humor? Oh shit, that's a lot of dick jokes. Oh, can you do it again, but just without all the closeted humor? All right, so that's my rant on it. I do want to see a little bit of what Solomon has to say here.
The core of this chapter will examine Mike's assertion that all of the structure and ideas and content of the book is 100% his own work. There are two issues with this assertion. First, it's false. And second, the question of whether Mike came up with the ideas is irrelevant to whether he owns the copyright to the book. Mike's assertion that 100% of the content in the aesthetic revolution is his own work is false. It's false because the book contains AI-generated portions. Owing to the AI-generated portions in the aesthetic revolution, Mike factually can't claim that 100% of the content is his own work. But then again, Mike's flexible relationship with the truth is something he's perfectly happy to admit himself.
There it is. Leave it to Solomon. I mean, he's got his lawyer superhero suit on. And what's kind of humorous is that he has to make the case the way a lawyer would that he effed up, to where he has to lay out the most like cartoonishly elementary facts about the existence of the universe in order to disprove what he said. And what you guys will find, this is why pathological liars have a really, really big edge over the rest of the population. And that is that it is actually oddly hard to contend with people that are outright lying in a way that is just 180 degrees opposite of reality, more than you would think. All of the things we believe are built up off axioms. Those are things we can't outright prove, but you have to accept them as true because they're self-evident. You got to accept something in order to move forward. The closer you get to those, the harder it is to prove. There's actually proof of why 2 + 2 = 4, and it's like hundreds of pages long. Challenging axiomatic things that are self-evident, are difficult because we take them for granted. So when Mike says, this is my own work, you actually have to insult yourself and everybody around you by explaining carefully, this isn't your work because work put out by somebody else does not qualify as your work. Again, I'm not qualified to label a personality disorder, but there's some shit in here, guys. Like, I'm waiting for it to come out.
I've lied a lot. Lying is easy as hell. I can do it at the drop of a hat.
We now know Solomon was looking at an accidentally uploaded incorrect rough draft.
AI provided a part of the product. So to claim that the content is 100% tools and equating them is an inept strategic mystification. Mike further asserts that he 100% used AI to help him smooth over some of the prose in the aesthetic revolution. Mike, AI did a lot more than just smooth over the prose in your book.
I gotta admit, I am kind of embarrassed that I didn't like sift through the images. Some of it was while I was listening on Audible, I missed those sections, but I did see a few of them, especially when I was going back and like highlighting sections, and my eyes just glossed over it. I just took for granted, like, if this is AI, the picture's obviously fucking AI. But when the dude went deep and found the nonsense text and he found the Gemini tag at the bottom, it's like layer on layer on layer of laziness. I'm almost not as mad that Mike lies pathologically as I am mad that he's so fucking lazy. It's like he has to know what he's doing. He has to be baiting people.
A more honest admission wouldn't hide behind the feeble euphemism of smoothing. A truly honest admission would be that you used AI to generate the actual content in the book, because you did. And that's a very different thing. If Mike thinks that he legally owns the copyright to the work just because he came up with the underlying ideas, then he demonstrates a catastrophic ignorance of basic intellectual property principles, most notably the idea-expression distinction. Mike's confession, "I'm stating this now," well before the book comes out, so that there is no controversy if and when someone detects that it has elements of AI writing styles in it, is very strange. A preemptive admission of guilt doesn't magically neutralize the offense. It merely proves that he knew the final product was compromised before it ever went to print. I mean, dressing up preemptive damage control as transparency is a cynical PR tactic that gaslights his audience into thinking that because he confessed to it, they have no right to criticize it. It's as if he thinks that a show of being upfront about an unspecified degree of AI use will forestall any kind of scrutiny.
And that's exactly right, because it doesn't even count as a preemptive admission. It's unspecified, it's vague in its nature, so that when people accuse him of doing AI plagiarism, he can say, I admitted to using AI, what's the problem? Although he is admitting to something different than what people are accusing him of, and what he is obviously guilty of.
But why would this declaration, which isn't all that candid, by the way, because it doesn't say how much AI was used, why would it short-circuit an inevitable controversy over unacceptable writing with inadmissible flaws?
And I think it is really important to keep the pressure on that as you criticize this, because it's not about the anti-AI crowd getting a win. This is about punishing people when they lie to you, when they're literally saying, this is my original work when it's not, about people being lazy and using generative AI to just be text that I can sell you, which is not something we should ever tolerate. And it's about the trash. Honestly, more than anything, it's the finished product, him looking at that and saying, yeah, I'm going to sell that to my audience. That is unforgivable, and that's what he should be punished for. Like when he wrote that book and put it out, did he think that saying, oh, well, I admitted to using AI would make up for the fact that the book was absolute trash?
He imagines that he's created a clever moral defense of his AI use, completely unaware that a rigorous legal defense will be needed if copyright is still to be asserted. Mike's moral posturing on social media doesn't rewrite intellectual property law, and his flippant attitude won't protect him or his publisher if they attempt to enforce exclusive rights over the machine-generated content in Mike's book.
There's a limit to how much joy I want to take in other people's suffering, even when they fuck up. However, everything about the way this book is put together is so egregious. This should be taken down. I think the publishing company is going to have to do something. They're probably going to stick with the precedent that Shy Girl set and take it down, which they absolutely should. That's what I'd like to see. I want to disincentivize this as much as possible in the future. And I think consumers should punish publishing houses that don't do this. And they will, because they won't have trust that what they're putting out is of any quality and is not just AI generated bullshit. But even if they leave it up, I think it should have to have something on it that says made with loads of generative AI, LLMs all over the place in this bitch, because the consumers need to know before they buy it. And that by itself will disincentivize this type of behavior because nobody's going to buy that trash. And I had people in the comments like, he admitted to using AI. Why are you mad about him using AI? Hey, he said he was going to use Google. Why are you mad that he copy and pasted chunks of text from Google searches into his book? I don't think that merits even going into any further. So anyways, I will continue to cover this. You can call it drama all you want. I think when the biggest, most influential people fuck up routinely and start to peddle bullshit to their audience, they need to be checked. And if we do the lazy play nice bullshit, how do they get checked? They don't. Again, they are the ones with leverage and influence, not the ones needing to be protected. I tuned into one idiot who said, I think YouTubers that disparage other YouTubers are just jealous and insecure. If that is the rule you set forth for the world, how do people get checked for bad behavior? They fucking don't. So all of that enabling bullshit does is excuse that individual from the hard task of upholding standards, because saying no to people it's really difficult. You look like a mean person. You don't want to have to like be aggressive. You don't want to have to assert that somebody can't or shouldn't do anything. Who am I to say that somebody shouldn't do anything? It's all relative, bro. Human sacrifice of the Aztecs, tribal coming of age rituals in Papua New Guinea, bro, it's like, come on, it's all relative. You're just being a judgy pants. You shouldn't judge. People that make those arguments are always Trojan horsing in their own normative beliefs while they tell you that you shouldn't have your own. And in the process, you make space for all types of fucking bad actors. Anyways, that's all I got for today, guys. Thanks for joining me on another installment of Mr. Mike Israetel's generational crash out. I think there's going to be a lot more to come. But for now, this is Bromley, my pet eagle, Amerigo. Until next time, I'll see ya.